As soon as I heard that they were making a brand new Legend of Zelda game in the same vein as Breath of the Wild, I knew I had to grab it for myself. So without any further ado, hit that subscribe button, like this video so others can watch it, and let's jump right in to the brand new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And speaking of jumping right into it, that's exactly what the game does. You're thrown in with this very super cool cutscene that I won't spoil here for spoiler reasons, but I love the new story that they're trying to introduce, and they do so within the first 5 minutes of the game. Now, it's not as quick as a release into gameplay as Breath of the Wild was, but I'm not entirely wasted and bored during the beginning cutscene of Tears of the Kingdom. As for the gameplay, it is a little bit strange just because it's so similar to Breath of the Wild, but the only problem I have with this game's gameplay is the animations just take a little bit longer than they do in Breath of the Wild, so it's kind of a shock going straight from playing Breath of the Wild like I did last night to prepare myself to immediately playing this game in which everything is just a little bit different. Speaking of being a little bit different, I think the visuals for this game are even better than Breath of the Wild, which is something I talked about in a previous video on how nervous I was that this game wouldn't live up to the expectations. But I think to capsulize this game and how it stands out from Breath of the Wild, it's really similar to Breath of the Wild, but everything in this game is just a little bit cooler and a little bit better, and a little bit more well made as well. Speaking of which, I do think the intro to this game is a little bit better than the intro to Breath of the Wild, which is what I'm showing here. You can see on screen. I really like the way that the title card shows. It really makes me feel like I'm ready to play the next Zelda game, which is what all good title cards should play. Not Zelda games though, just the game you're trying to play. But this game really makes me feel like I'm ready to play at the beginning. However, if I hadn't played Breath of the Wild, I don't think I'd understand this one. As it comes to probably a lot of you as an obvious point, I really don't think you should start off playing Tears of the Kingdom as your first Legend of Zelda game. I should make a video in the future about which Zelda games you should start with, but definitely don't start with this one, and definitely don't play this one if you haven't played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild yet. Some things will go right over your head and you won't know what's going on or what this world is, because Breath of the Wild is really the set and the base for this game, and this game is very clearly a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, which those of you who played it already know exactly what I'm talking about. Another super cool thing about this being a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild is the devs were actually able to do more stuff with it because they used the same map from Breath of the Wild to make this game. That might stray some players away, but I think it's really cool because they were able to take that and build upon it instead of having to start from scratch, in which case we probably get this game out in, I don't know, 2026 or something like that. But everything in this game is super cool, and there are some familiar stuff. I didn't come across anything outlandish or outstandingly familiar while playing. I didn't play for very long, but I'm sure there are those things. But everything in this game is a lot cooler. I love the new animations, the new sorting systems and inventory systems are super cool, and all the new abilities you get with the shrines are really fun to use. I'm not super good with them yet, but I'm sure as more I play, I'll probably get better with those. Speaking of which, everything is just so much better. The dungeons are way more fun and unique. Everything visually is way more pleasing. And of course, the animations and everything looks so much cooler as well. I really like the way the shrines look. Close your eyes in like 2 seconds if you don't want me to show the shrines. But here's one of the shrines. I think they look super cool. And with the theme of this new game, they really fit. Even though when I first saw them, I thought this doesn't look anything like a shrine. But it's super cool, and I think just playing this game just for the visual aesthetics is worth it. Alright, those of you with your eyes closed from the shrine, you can open your eyes now. I really enjoy just the way everything looks, and the theme of the game remains relatively consistent, apart from Breath of the Wild, where it seems that some areas of the map were just out of place, but every single area of this map feels connected with one another, and it really seems like the design team on this game really knew what they were doing, because every single thing is obvious. Nothing that you need to do in this game requires you from venturing out far in the distance in order to find this one thing and go back and use that thing. Games such like Elden Ring have very confusing ways that you need to complete objectives, but this game, everything seems pretty linear despite being an open world game. Everything is clear in what you need to do, especially because of the new menu systems. Everything is placed on a path so perfectly that the design team and every single person working on it has to have at least a few pats on the back, because every single part of this game flows through so perfectly, and it's just incredible. Did I mention that the open world aspect of this game is top notch? I remember mentioning in a video a few weeks ago, which will be linked in the description below if you want to watch it, that I was worried about this not being able to eclipse Breath of the Wild, but I think I can say that it definitely did. It took brand new concepts such as the floating islands from this game, and it made it so that there's an open world but still kind of linear aspect to this game. It's so perfect, it's so beautiful, and it fits the theme of the game as well as the design of the game so perfectly. It's incredible. I didn't think it could do it, but The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has got to be one of the greatest Zelda games, if not one of the greatest open world games of all time. That's all I have to say for this game. I want to get back into playing it. If you have funny ideas for this game, whether it be a short, a video, or a live stream, leave those comments down in the comments section below. Like this video if you enjoy Tears of the Kingdom. Hit the subscribe button if you play video games. And as always, I'm SavageSkull, and I will see you beautiful people on the flip side. Goodbye, everybody.